Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. It's Wednesday evening and tonight we are talking about the 20-minute neighbourhoods. Oh my goodness, this has blown up ridiculously. So let me just tell you what I think about this 20-minute neighbourhood stuff. Now, there's been quite a few people have put out videos, especially when Scotland's national framework has said, yes, we want to want to make whole of Scotland 20-minute neighbourhoods, Oxford with their 20-minute neighbourhoods. Oxford, however, had said about the 20-minute neighbourhoods that you would need a permit to go from one to the other, and you could only go 100 times a year and all that sort of stuff. Now, Oxford Council have put out a statement recently. I read it today at work. And it said, the way people have been talking about this, it's not the way it's working. And from what I read, and as I say, this is only from what I read from the statement the Oxford Council put out. From what I read, the way they're looking at this is, yes, they'll have their 15-minute neighbourhoods, and yes, you can travel in and out, but basically they're putting a congestion charge on it. That's all it is. It's exactly the same as London has been having for years. The way they see it is, it's so congested, so if you want to go through from this neighbourhood to this neighbourhood and you're going through the congestion area, then you get charged. If you want to go round the outside, you don't get charged. There's no problem there. Now, I know this seems very simplistic, but basically, I remember when I used to go and visit Patrick in London, and if anyone's from London, you'll know what I'm talking about. We used to get to King's Cross station from Hammersmith flyover, and we'd come along Euston Road, and King's Cross was on your left, and the other stuff was on your right. And if we turned right to park to go to a cafe or something before my train left, we hit the congestion zone, like so many roads off to the right, like all of them. That was you were in the congestion zone, you had to park, you had to pay. If we turned left and parked further down, which meant going past King's Cross and Euston and parking down that side, we weren't in the congestion zone. So it was our choice as to how we did that. We did a lot of travel around London where I remember Patrick went along the embankment, across on one bridge, along and then back on the other bridge, because that missed the congestion charge. Just depends on where it is. And that, I think, is what Oxford were thinking of, as opposed to everyone has to stay in the little 15-minute zone. So there is that. However, looking at the Scotland thing, I'm sorry, I did have the computer here with it. Let me just sign in again, it just went off. Right, there we go. So yes, Scotland is saying a whole lot of gobbledygook, which is basically anything from the government is a whole lot of gobbledygook. And what they're saying in this bit says, we'll plan our future places in a way that improves local living so that we live in communities that are inclusive, empowered, resilient, safe, and provide opportunities for learning. Okay, would help if they defined that, but no. Quality homes will be better served by local facilities and services, applying the principles of local living to development proposals. Okay, again, a whole load of gobbledygook. And then we have the crux of the matter. The concept of 20-minute neighbourhoods will help to support this, particularly in more urban areas. We don't have many of them. In rural areas, the approach to local living will be shaped by local context. So no, the whole of Scotland is not going to become a 20-minute neighbourhoods. Now, on one hand, you get the thought of a 20-minute neighbourhood is fabulous. If you think of the cities where, especially from about the 70s or 80s, when they took down the slums in Dundee and Glasgow and stuff, and they built the new housing on the outskirts, and they didn't put any facilities in. So you were lucky if you had a wee corner shop and a pub. That was it. There was nothing else. So people had to travel into the town to get it, and they ended up not being the best places. So what the 20-minute neighbourhood is trying to promote to us, as far as I can see, is that, well, within this 20 minutes, you will have, your doctors, your pharmacists, your community learning, your school, your sports pitch, all this sort of stuff. Good luck with that. Truly, good luck with that. Because as they're saying, I don't know where I read it, if it's there, I will. Yeah, they're recognising the need for livable places to be consistent with our ambition. We will promote compact urban growth, higher density development which will help to sustain public transport and support local living, and continued investments in travel links. Yeah, so basically the cities are going to get bigger so that people don't have to travel as much. And the urban areas, they're going to try and look at them within context. Now, I live very close to an urban town. Radio station was in Crieff. And what's happened in both of them, and what's happened in many, many smaller towns in the UK, is that the developers have gone to the councils and gone, oh, look, so many people want to live in your area. Let's build loads of houses. And the councils are like, yep, fine, but we need a Section 75 here, we need a school, we need a junction coming off the highway, we need football pitches. We had all that here. Crieff did actually get a new school out of it, gives them their due, but there's a whole lot of other stuff. That what happens is the developers put up so many houses because they say we're going to build 1,000. And the council puts a Section 75 in at 300 houses, you've got to do this. And that's about 200 and odd houses. The developers go in and they start changing and they start asking for things to be different. That has been happening for decades. And the council can, make it, or the government can say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. It's not going to happen. Best of all in the world, the big developers are not going to be paying for this. The government's already saying, Scotland and UK are both saying, we can't afford to pay public servants anymore. We can't afford to pay the nurses, the dustmen, the civil servants anymore because we can't afford it. So where are they getting all this money? Where is all this money going to come from to suddenly change these towns and make them into walking, cycling and wheeling friendly? I mean, no, that's not going to happen because the town hasn't been designed that way. So they're not going to be able to suddenly make this walking, wheeling and cycling friendly. I mean, dear God, they need to repair the pavements first and the potholes in the roads. And we all know how easy that is. How many times have you just about gone over your ankle on a pavement because the paving slabs have gone all squinty because some have sunk or the curbstones have sunk? We all know that. So this is a lovely document for this planning framework, and we're going to be net carbon by 2030. Behave yourself. What do you think you're going to be doing? Really? A 20-minute neighbourhood is a pie-in-the-sky idea where they're like, oh, we'll tell everyone it's a 20-minute neighbourhood and everyone will be so happy that they're going to have everything round about them. That's a fantastic plan. I would love that. Okay, who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay to put in your park and ride to take people into the centre of that town? Who's going to pay to put more bus stops in? Who's going to pay to widen the pavements? Who's going to pay for all this lovely affordable housing that they think they're going to do? We can't get enough affordable housing now. The developers are taking themselves out of it. Or they're going in as multiple developers into a group so that they all are under the level for affordable housing. Do you not think the developers have got lawyers beating this already? So the 20-minute town is a fabulous idea. It sounds so good. We're all going to have local facilities, very close, all within walking distance. And wouldn't that be fabulous? And yes, it would. And it's complete pie in the sky, as far as I'm concerned. Because what they're intending to do is not going to be affordable for any of them. And as for the Oxford saying that it's, you have to pay, that's basically a congestion charge. It's not that you're going to get kept in your 20-minute zone. It's a congestion charge. It's the council making money. That's all it is. And yes, more councils will be doing that. We've already got that coming up here in Glasgow. Glasgow, Dundee, Aberdeen and Edinburgh, I think, are all going to put in their congestion charges. And if you don't have, we're looking at it at work. because we work in, well, we don't work in Aberdeen, but we work in all the other three. And if we don't have a van that's modern enough, then we will get charged if we have to go and do work in someone's house. Well, you know that we're just adding that charge on to them. But the council's making money. Yeah. Council's making money. I'm sure the council offices are well heated and well lit, and you know, they've got their subsidised canteens and stuff. That's all that is. So yes, the 20-minute villages or 20-minute towns are being put out there to be this lovely fluffy idea where we can all live happily ever after. Yeah. No, it's not going to happen. It's certainly not going to happen anytime soon. So personally, I am not going to worry about it that much, because unless you're in a big city, it's not something that is going to affect you. If you are, much of it is going to be, basically, it's a congestion charge. That's going to be the first thing they're going to bring in, is to make a congestion charge. And they're going to say it's so they can make money to make this 20-minute neighbourhood. It's just a puff piece as far as I'm concerned. What they're doing is they're looking at whatever the United Nations or whatever they're doing with this green initiative. They're going, oh yes, we can do that. Oh yes, we can do that. How many targets have been missed already? Don't expect them to be hit now. So yes, that is my thought on the 20-minute neighbourhoods. So I will go and I will have a cup of tea and I'll get this uploaded and I will catch you later.